kirkworks76 here. I've got a final video to put out on the Sharp RT1165, the original first season deck that has finally been put back together and is working. This is a video of bits and pieces from that effort. One involves the power switch replacing, and another involves fixing little problems like the record and this annoying hum we got that turned out to be a ground issue. So I'm gonna try to put this in a coherent way on the video so you can figure out what's happening. But the first part here is on the switch. The switch had gone to where you turn it off and it wouldn't go off. It would stay on. So that's a very kind of a dangerous situation. And I had to change out the switch. So I bought a donor machine and changed the switch out. That switch is a nightmare to unsolder, change. I mean, if you're good at soldering, it might be a little easier for you, but to get it out, I tried to figure out what was wrong with it, to fix it, and I've got the parts. I've got a nice view of like what's inside that switch. So in case any of you are interested, having a similar problem or want to change it or even clean it, I don't recommend it. There's a lot of effort there, and it is a pain in the butt to take out and put back in because of its location. The thing that saves the day is a very long Phillips head screwdriver going through the chassis to get to the screws. Took me a while to figure that out, but get yourself I think it's a 10-inch small Phillips head. And secondly, we go about some final problems we had on it with recording and a hum we tracked down. So give this a watch. You can skip all this part and go to the switch part, and we'll figure out, you can figure out what that switch was all about. Hey folks, it's me again. We're working on my old friend, the original season one tape deck, the Sharp RT1165. It just keeps coming back for more. Actually, it wasn't properly fixed the first time. So this time I had a switch that wouldn't turn off. So you plug it in, it was on, try to turn it off, it was on. So that's certainly not good at all. So the power switch is back here, and it takes a little bit to get that out. And that's where the power comes in here. And this goes to the tape deck, the one with the yellow one. So we've taken that out, and I've got a parts machine I bought that came in a little while ago, and we're going to try to put one in. Soldering, I'm still learning how to solder. So I think I'm going to give it a go here and try to get one to work. Okay, so as you recall, the power switch in our Sharp RT1165 was not working properly. So I've since taken it off the board and subsequently ruined the board because the copper is missing from there. So, but that's okay, we're not using this one, but I was able to take apart the switch, just pry open the prongs, and here's the top. Notice there's a little, it looks burnt. Now I'm not going to deal with that right this second, but the actual switch I thought I'd show you is there's a little cover here, and then in here, let's see if I can get you more light here in a second. Hold on. In here, the black piece moves forward and switches the contact down and then lifts it up when you power off. So I'll show you that in a second. It's a little hard to do with one hand. So there it is in the off, and then when you push it in, it makes connection to the bottom. On here, these are the 2 pins, I also broke those, that go to the board. And so we were having a problem where it wouldn't turn off. So I checked the continuity on this, and at first I was getting it basically on no matter what. So it was basically, if you turned it off, it was on. If you turned it on, it was on. So what I'm trying to do now is I've since taken it apart, and it seems to work better. But I thought I'd show you the inside of the switch. That's what it looks like. That was sort of the lesson here. I'm still playing around with it, so more later. Well, I wanted to see what was in the switch. So I've torn it apart, and I've kind of torn it up getting it out. But then the bottom side, there's a contact and a copper part on the switch that slides back and forth along the copper piece. But I'm still trying to figure out how that has anything to do with anything, because it's the sliding of the plastic piece, that black plastic piece that's right there, forward and backwards, that makes the switch. So it's all gunky in here. I don't know if that had something to do with it, which could have, but it seems like it's conducting electricity. I don't know how it works still. So I'm going to clean it up and see. Hey everyone. We are working on this power switch for the Sharp RT1165. I've had to change it out. I'm going to have other parts of this video that show you what's in there, but this is possibly the most difficult thing to remove without taking apart every single thing. And even then, I don't think it'd be easy because of all the metal brackets in the way. We've had to come through with a super long screwdriver through here, right down, to try and get on these screws. This is the only way. I've tried a 90-degree ratchet screwdriver, not enough real room to work. Even from the bottom, you can see it's blocked by the brace for the cassette deck. Extremely difficult to remove. If you have another way, please feel free. I'm hoping never to have to do another one of these. This one definitely needed it. And pay no attention to all this. I'm going to clean all this up. But I've had to resolder the power wire on there. If you remember from season 1, that it had a bad thing coming in, and it was all kind of jury-rigged. So that's what we did. I'm going to have more information about what's in this little switch, because it's very intricate, and I will show you, because I took apart the old one. This is actually from a donor machine, and we verified it works, so we just finished screwing it in. It took 2 of us, because there's just no good way to get to it. Even though it looks like it's wide open, good luck. But if you have any ideas, let me know. Okay, this morning we have a problem with this deck. It will not record. You put a tape in, put a pause, put it on record. You can see the VU meters moving to the input that's coming in to be recorded. But when you hit the switch, or when you hit the record, it doesn't record over the tape. If you look right You see the big screw head next to the SW9 there? Well, when you hit record, that big tall screw blocks the thing from hitting the record switch. It was in there. I did not put that in there. So let's take a look at another deck, and I'll show you what it's supposed to look like. Here's the donor deck, and you see the screw right here where my finger is. And this black thing here gets knocked when you hit record. See how it goes into it and makes the connection, causing it to record. That's not happening on the other one because that big tall screw head, this one has a short one. So we're going to fix that and see if we fixed it. Just recorded this. Get ready, baby. There we go. It's working. All right. So a little quieter now. I can't record a lot of that, or I can't play a lot of that, as you know. It was that real tall screw, excuse me while I fiddle about, had a sleeve on it, was blocking the record switch from knocking into when you press record. Very bizarre. I did not put that in there, and it's been in there a while. Its only purpose would have been so you can't record. So whoever owned this deck, maybe they didn't realize, and it plays okay. But now we're recording and we're playing, and we fixed the switch. So we're looking pretty good for this guy. This is the original Season 1 La Brea Tar Pit Sharp RT1165. So what's exciting is we have one thing to figure out, and that is a rewind that it starts off really well and then begins to slow. And I've redone the tire in the back. I've rubber rejuvenated it with that guy. And we're excited. It got better, but we're still not sure. So what I'm going to do next stop is let's see if I can get it here. On the belt, if I can see the belt, which you can't, I am going, well, it's better out here where it comes to the, right here. I'm going to mark that with a white magic marker, do the rewind thing, and see if the white part begins to slow. If that's the case, it's still dealing with either that belt is slipping or still have trouble with that tire. I can't show you because it's buried in there. But I think we're close to fixing this 100%. We'll see. It becomes, like I said, these are a labor of love. You spend a lot of time on it because you're trying to figure out little things. And again, if you're going to buy one of these, check to see where it's been stored for the last 45 years. Because if it's an attic, garage, it's going to be more trouble. This one, I think, was kept somewhere really bad. But it's working. It sounds really good. And that's all you need from a cassette deck. You want to play your old cassettes. The cassettes I play were recorded in 1978, 79, all the way through the 90s. And they sound great on these decks. So if you can pick one up for inexpensively, but you've got to spend a lot of time fixing it. And I've got a summary video coming out of all these decks had the same issues. And I'm going to tell you what those are in the summary. So you can go straight to the summary issue video and say, if I get one of these, here are the things I'm definitely got to do. So, so look forward to that. Bye. Hey folks, good morning. I'm still working on season 1's Sharp 1165. This has come a long way. I fixed the recording problem, which I've recorded and you'll see or have seen. Then it was playing, it was recording. Rewind is still a little interesting, but it works now. I renewed the wheel and was able to get it to go all the way now. It seems it may be slipping, and I'm going to look into that as far as the belt, the main belt goes. Once I get my white magic marker, I'll be able to see and then see if it actually is slowing or going faster. But the latest problem, after doing all that, we were all set, playing, recording. Everything was cool. It sounded really good too. Very exciting. And go to put it, and when I press play, there would be this audible hum. I mean, without even a tape in it. So if I did this, you'd hear this coming out of the stereo over there. You'd hear this loud hum with a tape, without a tape. So then we began the arduous journey of figuring out what it was. And it's a ground issue, but I was tapping and tapping and tapping, and then finally over here, this card that has basically the monitor and the level meter and things like that on it. If I tapped it, it would. If I pushed it, it would stop. If I let go, it would start the noise. And then down in here, you'll see a screw on the circuit board and another screw buried in there. I tightened those because they were just a little loose and no hum. So it took me a while to try and figure that out. I figured maybe something's come loose, because one of the things you learn when you're working these, you're constantly turning them over, putting them on their side, rattling them probably more than they ever meant to be rattled. And I figured stuff has, come loose. So if you get a loud hum with no tape on play, or with a tape on playback, and just humming through the speakers, then start looking for a ground issue by tapping on various parts of the thing. So we found it. I think I got very lucky, but that's just a little heads up. If it's happened to you, you'll know. You can look at that back card and maybe give it a wiggle very gently and see what's going on there, and tighten up I call it a motherboard. Sorry, it's a circuit board screw. I know I've said this before, but we have finally finished this deck. I have put it all back together, buttoned it up, and put it in where my stereo is, so I can put it in the rotation to be used. So there you have it. A little of the switch stuff, a weird record playback being blocked by a really tall screw that looks intentional, which was really strange. Once I figured out that that's not the way it should be, we fixed it, and that was great. And now it's running really well. It rewinds all the way to follow up with that. Oh, there's one thing about rewinding. When I was at NASA, and I say that a lot, it's like, yawn. But when I was, the one thing tape decks did back then, as they got closer to the end, they would begin to slow on their own to prevent the stretching of the tape in the last 100 feet of the tape. And so when I was looking at that, I go, oh, that's a feature of the deck. It starts to slow as it gets near the end. I really don't think that's the way it's supposed to be on a cassette deck, but we'll take it as a victory. Hey, thanks for watching. Any comments, just put them down there. I'd be happy to answer them. And hang in there and keep trying to fix it.